Happy Sunday afternoon, everyone. Friends, Americans, countrymen, I ask you to lend me your ears and your eyes, I suppose, since it's a video, for a few minutes, because there's a message I've had on my mind for the last few days, the last week or so, and actually I've had it on my mind for a damn long time. And there's a disclaimer at the beginning of this video that there is foul language in this video. Normally there is, I guess, in mine, but I'm not going to try and hold myself back today because this is a very tailored message for a very select group of individuals who find it upon themselves to be very loud and boisterous and vociferous about their stupid opinions. And not that all of their opinions are stupid per se, but, you know, it goes back to another video that I made that, you know, when we come upon new information, we have the opportunity to change and react to that information and adapt it and have new beliefs, or we can just persist in our delusion and just sweep any uncomfortable information under the rug. So today's topic is about atheism. Yes, I suppose it was destined that we go there given the trajectory of the past videos, but there's gonna be some jimmies rustled right here, and I don't give a shit because these people are so fucking annoying to me at this point. So I've decided to make this video to basically call them out and tell them that they're fags. And I don't mean this in a way, another part of the disclaimer, I'm not prejudiced against homosexuals or lesbians or gay people or whatever, but I'm following in the tradition of Professors Stone and Parker of the University of South Park when they firmly declared that to be a fag is not really about being gay. It's about an attitude that doesn't give a flying fuck about anybody else's environment or their space or what they hold sacred or what they respect and revere, but just, you know, in the topic that they brought up in their lengthy, eloquent discourse, they referred to the Harley-Davidson riders, right? Those loud fuckers that are always yeah, okay, fucking, it's not that I don't like motorcycles, but seriously, they make these fucking things as loud as possible, and I really don't respect the type of person that thinks that's just like so cool to fucking ride down the street and just and this is very key for where I'm going with this, because this is exactly the attitude of the fucking atheists. There's no fucking God. Church is stupid. Man, religion is dumb. Anybody who believes in anything outside of science and materially provable reality is just a fuckhead and a moron. And you know what? I'm being hyperbolic and I'm making characterizations, but in my experience, a lot of these characterizations in this case are fucking true. Stereotypes have to start somewhere, right, guys? You know, Irish like to drink beer. I can't get enough fucking potatoes. It's good shit, alright? But here we go with the fucking atheists. And, you know, today's Sunday, right? The day allocated to the sun, which is the original, you know, part of the original true religion, basically in reverence and worship of nature, the creation that surround us. And I've had a fond saying throughout the years that no true outdoorsman ever truly frets or questions about the existence of a creator or a divine force, because they're in the true church all the time, which is nature, on the mountaintops, by the lakes, by the ocean, in the deserts. All of these places are my church. And anyone who actually gets out there can feel that energy, that amazing feeling of just witnessing creation itself, standing before that majestic landscape and knowing in the deepest part of them that they are a part of that environment, and this energy is just amazing. But to a person who thinks that man sitting at his keyboard, yeah, this is the height of human evolution, yeah, we're truly the most dominant species on the planet, let me do my fantasy fucking football, it's just oh man, I mean. And again, atheism has its part, just like religion does. I was an atheist for many, many, many years, and it served its purpose for me. It helped me distance myself from a church that I was kind of inducted into when I was young, but I knew I was being taught quantum physics in 4th grade. I was in the gifted and talented class, like, I told my dad, like, in 3rd, 4th grade, like, I don't want to go to Sunday school anymore. He's like, why? And I was like, what's the worst reason I can tell you? And he said, that you don't believe in God. And I said, bingo. I mean, it's asinine. I mean, don't kill people, don't steal things. Here's some talking vegetables that tell you not to kill people and to be a good person. It seems completely redundant. To me, I found it pretty obvious and apparent that I shouldn't kill people and shouldn't steal from them. That didn't seem like a really strange thing that I had to be inducted with, and trained not to be a murderer. So it's ridiculous on its face, and so many people, just like I did, they reject this false church because it's absurd. They're following this literal interpretation of the Bible, which makes no sense. It leads people to have this whole program going on in their mind that just they start to fear anything that's not within that program, and then they get hyper committed to that program itself. But it's a program for people who need that, and that's what I've learned over the years. That talking to Christians and talking to religious people, I find them generally very pleasant to talk to, as long as I don't try and trample all over the things that they respect and hold dear. I find them to be very human, understanding, compassionate individuals. And yes, we have the media representations of the extreme on the other side, the Westboro Baptist Church, God hates fags, protesting funerals and stuff. I mean, fuck those guys. Everybody hates them. Nobody really, truly, should accept that, they are the paragon, the icon of Christianity. Almost every Christian I meet is a very humble, respectful person who's really just trying to provide the best for themselves and for their family. And I've got nothing against that. I've really got no counterpoint. I don't subscribe to their literal interpretation of the holy text. But in general, I can always talk to them. They don't antagonize me. They don't try and convert me or proselytize me. Despite the seeming claims of the atheists who always feel so fucking oppressed. Oh my God, there's 10 commandments on the front lawn of the courthouse. Who gives a shit? Don't kill, don't steal. Again, these are obvious. Nobody should be even fucking disputing these. Not that, again, there's a literal interpretation to the commandments that gets people all confused, but in general, morality and, ethics in general is ingrained in the human species. We're all normally good people, and to me, that's more of the final proof that there is a good creative force in the universe, and we are representations of that, and the universe isn't actually evil and trying to kill us all, and entropy is not just ripping us all apart, but there's this inevitable ascending, this vortex going throughout the universe that separates matter into its constituent densities and vibrations. And yes, here we go. The atheists don't like the fact that I'm using new age type speak, like vibrations, and they like to make fun of this new terminology that people have been adapting to describe the sensations and the experiences that we've been having. And the reason that people in, new age or otherwise have come up with these terminologies like energy and vibrations and resonance and all these different things in that soul category is because science, as you fucking faithfully revere it, hasn't provided us a context to explain the experiences that the human race is having. And that is a sign that your model has failed. Yeah, you should think about that. Your model has fucking failed. Here's some crazy terms from the science community that you should ponder for a little while. Renormalization. Yeah, renormalization. What the fuck does that mean, right? Renormalization is the word that the modern cosmology dudes, the physicists, came up with to describe how fucking wrong all of their predictions are for how much mass should be in the universe. Yeah, they're off by 99%, so they came up with a term called renormalization to make it work, and what that basically entailed was making up a bunch of unicorn farts, aka dark matter, and just saying, oh yeah, the rest of the universe is just this undetectable dark matter. We're scientific, and all these fuckheads talking about energy and resonance in an electric universe, they're just quacks and they don't know anything. Yeah, so renormalization, that's a fun one to ponder. I can't think of the other one right now, it'll come to me. But, it's just, let me break it down for you. The word atheist is a very specific word. It means you're making a positive claim. You're not just denying the existence of this literal man with a beard in the sky. You're making a positive claim. Okay, let me break it down. You're saying that the only active force behind all events in the universe is random chance, that there is no intelligence whatsoever. It is just random chance, rolling a dice. That's it. And the more that we examine that, the more that I examined that within my own life, I found that's not the case at all. Not even close. In fact, if anything can be distilled down to a single operating mechanism of the universe, it's far from chance. It is choice. Choice determines the universe, and choice implies consciousness. Choice implies intelligence. Choice is not just within the human being. It is not within the animals. It is not just within, the life forms even. It is fundamental to matter. Consciousness is fundamental to matter. And the very basic, most elementary quantum experiments fucking prove this. Are you kidding me? The double slit experiment, where all of a sudden it's... Let me break this down for those who don't know the double slit experiment. They had thin opening in two surfaces, right? And they had this radioactive, substance emitting protons, right? And it's emitting them on all these random directions, right? And so then they had a graph behind the slit, and they recorded where the protons scattered through. And what they found is that when there was nobody around watching, it would disperse in a perfectly random, just scatter plot. What they found when someone was observing the experiment, someone was watching, not even presently, even if somebody looked at the experiment after it had already taken place, watched a recording of it, what they found is that the randomness disappeared, and that the particles, the alpha particles, the protons, actually came into specific parts. They chose certain patterns to scatter into as soon as there was an observer witnessing the experiment. This is unequivocal proof. This is elementary quantum physics that basically tells us that matter is itself consciousness, and that the observer fundamentally changes the matter that is being observed upon observing it. Okay? So you now have fundamental proof in a scientific experiment setting that the observer influences matter. And you're saying that it's all random chance. There's no man in the sky. Of course there's no fucking giant bearded man in the sky. Right? Like, if I told you, so this is a good metaphor of what's going on, and this helped me realize where I was wrong when I was an atheist, when I had the crossroads where I had to determine, am I wrong here? Like, is there more going on, or have I just been kind of fed this half story in response to counter-religionists, And it's like, what's God? What is God? It's just a word. It's just a word. G-O-D, God. God. Right? What the fuck does it mean? An atheist will say, well, it's this character predicted by this book called the Bible, and it's supposedly an old man in the sky who we can disprove with our science because we haven't seen him, and, these people who are interpreting the Bible literally and taking all these parables and allegories as if they were literal written historical fact. Oh, we haven't found all these crazy, completely impossible things. Oh, wow, I guess God must not exist. It's like you're being fed a false definition of God. If I told you that God was the farts of a unicorn, right? Well, I don't believe in unicorns, therefore I don't believe in unicorn farts, all right? And I'm logical for thinking that. Yeah, sure you are. Unless your definition of God has been given to you by a fucking moron who thinks that the definition of the word means unicorn farts. If somebody told you, no, the word God is not unicorn farts, okay? God is, maybe it's a force, a dense energy field pervading the entire universe that allows matter points, any 2 points, any multiple points in the entire field to communicate instantaneously. Oh, well, that's a little more complex. I'd have to really think about that and do some experiments. Yeah, you fucking would, okay? And that's the real question being posed to you, motherfuckers. And really, though, as long as you want to sit there getting fatter, eating your fucking Cheetos, and just playing fucking video games, and not hiking up mountains and actually seeing creation, yeah, you'll sit there and be, yeah, fucking stupid religious people, there's no God. Yeah, go to the top of a fucking mountain and then tell me that, alright? When your ass is getting fat and you're getting weaker and older, and you're coming closer and closer to that inevitable death, tell me how comfortable you are with the idea that you're just gonna be worm food in the ground. Yeah, it's great. I love thinking that. It's just awesome. I love that everything that I've cultivated, all these memories, will just cease to exist, because, matter can be destroyed, right? It's physics. No matter is ever destroyed. It is only converted into another form. And spirit is a real, measurable thing. It is what animates the matter of the body and everything in the entire universe. I'm just one representation of it. I've lived many lifetimes, and I'll live many more. And hopefully some of the good memories I've made this time can carry on. It wouldn't be the first time that's happened. And you can believe what I'm saying or you can not believe what I'm saying. I don't really give a fuck. But what I do give a fuck about is that the atheist religion is statism, right? So when a Christian believes that, there's unicorn farts organizing the universe, believe in the literal story and that they're being judged and they have to find salvation through these external means, right? Meanwhile, they don't actually have the ability, at least not in this era, to impose that worldview on everyone at the barrel of the gun, at the force of the state. The atheists, yeah, they fucking do, especially with things like the vaccine issue and everything. They just want to legislate all of their atheist worldviews. We're not comfortable with the 10 Commandments. Let's get it off the court lawn. Again, who gives a shit? But, this is the kind of thing that these people are so upset about, is just, these religious icons in their public spheres, when, realistically, you guys are the ones, you're less than 2% of the population who self-identify as atheists, and you try to impose your fucking worldview on everyone. This secular humanism has a lot of really awesome good things. We should not just categorize people based on religious, artificial tribe lines. We should be coming together as one human species. But I think that the secular humanism and the scientific atheistic communists really are the impediment at this point more than a helping force, because there are very big questions that we need to be discussing as a species right now, and we're not, because the conversations are being impeded by these people. And 3 days ago, we had a very interesting experience. This is what kind of got me on this kick and why I'm so fired up about it, is we went to Hot Springs, right? Just outside of Bakersfield, California, which I've known for a while is not the top tourist destination in California by any means. I knew that there was a lot of tweakers, people doing methamphetamine out there and just, crazy, crazy little fuckers skirting around. What I didn't know is that whole area is basically a Satanist enclave, and there's people who basically worship the dark and fallen incarnation of magical power on this planet, and basically they have their little rituals and they sacrifice animals and they kill people and they're, pedophiles, and it's a very dark place. And I had no idea of any of this. We were up at the hot springs and an individual came into our camp and just started telling me a story, and I have no reason to believe that he was not being sincere. He seemed to be a very affected individual. And basically that there's a whole group, this cabal of Satanists hanging out in around the Bakersfield area, and that they would come to these hot springs and there was a dead body found in there. It's just creepy shit, man. And yeah, so I realized that Satanism is just a hyper form of atheism, and let me explain this. They both share an extreme and innate disrespect for the natural force that is inherent in creation, right? Which that goes by many names, but the one that I'm going to use for this purpose of this conversation is the divine feminine. They have no respect for the divine feminine. They have only just sardonic, sarcastic, evil jokes. They just... everything good and life-giving to them is something to be beaten and manipulated, okay? They are the fundamental antithesis of the natural human ethics that I felt as a child and made me reject the church in the first place, ironically. So atheists and Satanists, they're both saying, I don't give a fuck about creation. Life isn't sacred. Things, everything's pain. And, if I can bring pain to someone else to bring pleasure to me, that's okay, because morality's all relative, and I'm the only one that fucking matters. These are the tenets of these beliefs, and you can argue with me if you like. I'd be happy to hear from any sensible atheists that completely disagree with me. And again, I'm not speaking in absolutes. I'm not saying that all atheists are fags, but I'm saying a lot of fags are atheists. Again, no respect to the homosexuals. You guys are cool. Unless you're atheist status, in which you're part of this conversation, you're a fag too. And, so basically, again, atheism serves a purpose, just like religion does, for a certain time of life, when you're rejecting the church and finding your own self and your own, reason and rationality and establishing your own identity and ego in the world. But when it's years and years and years later and you're just getting fatter and fucking you're still bitching about the church, and you're still just endlessly whining, about other people being religious and the fact that some kids don't get vaccinated, like, grow the fuck up. You're such a fucking faggot if that's really all that's important to you is just whining and bitching about other people's religion while you try and impose your dumbass statism on the whole fucking world. All right, just fuck off with that shit. I hate when people try and force me to do things, right? You can be an atheist just like I allow the person to be a Christian, but when you try and impose your dumbass worldview on the rest of the world, you're just kind of a fag. So that's the end of the discussion today. Much love to everyone, and to those atheists who are genuinely interested in feeling the actual energy of the universe but just have never had any experiences in their life to make that a real thing for them. I'm going to refer you back to my video, The True Religion of Christ, the true Eucharist, the true body of Christ. To the ancient shamans were magic mushrooms, okay? There are plant allies. There are spirits inside the plants that are here to help us and guide us on these various incarnations. And I personally, my own understanding of the divine creative force that inhabits all space and matter and time in the universe was in fact influenced by the Eucharist, and I will forever be grateful for that experience, and it has only made me a happier, more loving, more compassionate, wiser individual. And that's what life is really all about. For the Christians, for the Muslims, for the atheists, for the Jews, that's what life is really all about for all of us, is finding that spot where we can grow and evolve into something better, the superhuman in the image of God, capable of all things and yet wise and dispensing judgment and mercy as they see fit. And that is called growing the fuck up and being an adult. So cheers, brothers and sisters. Enjoy your day, and take these words into account. I'm not trying to really put anybody into the dirt. I'm just trying to rustle the jimmies for the purpose of good conversation. So much love.